Dark Alice. A 7 cost, 5/5. Unevolved last words. Banish all allied Shadowcraft cards in play and summon a Dark Alice. At the start of your next turn, banish all Shadowcraft cards in your hand and your deck. I like to think of this card as the Waifu morde. That costs 1 less. Right? So, what she does is, when she dies, she just thins your deck completely. The problem with that being is, she'll also probably kill herself, if that makes sense. If you're running 3 copies of her, I think she takes herself out. Which is unfortunate. You could run, I would run her in a neutral deck, that's about it. You could also run her in like a neutral with some shadow splashed in. You could also run really situational shadow cards. Like a lot of the time, right, your deck is left with a bunch of early cards that if you draw them late game, you're like, I don't want them. So you can run some late game neutrals with Dark Alice and early game Shadow, right? Play her, thin the deck out, and then just draw your best cards afterwards. I think this card has some potential. You could Urd, that's true. Can you? I thought if Urd goes off, she would banish everything. I don't know how that would work. I think a lot of the time you're only going to have 1 Alice though. You might run her in a neutral centric deck just because Morde's really good, right? Even alone, except unless he gets banished, of course. But having a Morde in neutral is pretty good. You have 2 until one of them dies. Oh, okay. It can be in a ledger deck that the only shadow cards are Lich producers and removal. Yeah, you can do a lot of neat things with this. Thinning the deck is really, really good. Of course, the problem is if you're running good shadow cards, well, there goes everything. But if you're running good neutral cards, I think Alice would be good. I'm gonna go ahead and give her... I'm gonna give her the niche rating. The meme rating usually means pretty bad, but the niche rating means she has a place in the game, but only in very, very specific decks. Like super specific decks. Let's move on. So this guy, Corpse Lord of Woe. He's a 4 cost 4/4. Can't attack. At the start of your next turn, use Necromancy 6. Evolve this follower. Evolved, he can attack, and he gains last word, summon a Corpse Lord of Woe. So this is like, I want to think of this guy as budget Morde again. Just because if you actually get to Evo him, it summons him. The problem is, to get the free Evo, he costs 6. I guess, would you be happy playing this on curve? Because he doesn't gain any stats. That's the problem. You're just gonna have a 4/4 on turn 4. Sure, he spawns another of himself, but if he just dies, what's the point? 6 knuckle. You're never gonna get to use this dude's effect on curve unless you're running some nice memes. But I don't think you're ever gonna get to use this effect on curve. The idea behind it is kind of cool, but his stats limit him really, really hard. Maybe if he actually gained like a 1/1, maybe? I think this guy's pretty bad. There's better things you can do with your shadows. There's way better things you can do with your shadows. So I don't think this guy will ever be used. Like maybe there's one deck I can think of that might want this guy. And it is the Atomeme deck. Midnight Hunt on 3, this guy on 4, Conceit on 5. I can see you playing this in an Atomeme deck. Other than that, you're never going to run this dude. Even then, why would you run that when you can have a Mammoth? But that's besides the point. This guy's bad. I'll give him a nice big ol' meme. Let's move on. Odile Black Swan. So this is the counterpart to the Haven card. She's a 5/4, 1/1 stats. Fanfare, summon an enemy Odette White Swan, then evolve this follower. At the start of your turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies. Now this card is playable. This card is actually pretty playable because it's board wipe. 2 damage for free to the entire board. She's board wipe. You can think of her as Salamander with a body. Although a lot of the time she's just going to trade into Odette. 2 damage is nice. A lot of the cards are getting power creep to the point where they have 3 life, where they have 4 life. But 2 damage is still pretty good. Yeah, it's only enemies as well. I think this card's actually really playable. And she might even be good. I might be tempted to call her good. Free Evo. Board wipe. What's not to like? Top tier art. You'd have to be crazy not to use her. I'll give her a good rating. Maybe not meta rating, but definitely good. Oh, but as for decks that would run her, I think anything that wants board wipe. I don't think Nep would run her, because she messes with the pulls, right? So probably not Nep, but any kind of maybe mid-range Shadow would run her. Aggro might be crazy enough to do it, because this is all enemies. That's 2 face damage as well. I'm pretty sure. That should be 2 face damage as well. You can run her for face, so she seems good. I like her. She's a tech card, not a cornerstone for a deck. I agree. 5 cost, 5/7. Dead Moros. Oh, this dude. This is what I'm talking about when I say cards are getting power creeped. A 5/7. Look at his stats, and he gets full stats too. This is power creep incarnate. But let's read his effect. Destroy all other allied Shadowcraft followers. Restore X defense to your leader. X equals the number of followers destroyed by this effect. So that effect pretty much makes it so you would never run this dude in like any normal deck. Maybe a neutral deck. But if you have an empty board and you play this, you have a 7/9. His stats are huge. And he can heal you, right? Until now, Shadow didn't have very much healing. This guy can potentially heal you for 4. And be just a giant trading body. Think of him as Sybil. Think of him as a Sybil for Shadow that kills your board. A strictly worse Sybil. With bigger stats. Yeah, this dude's stats they're pretty big. Evo turns when he's played and he's huge. This dude is just really, really big. If you don't have a dance or something to deal with this, you're just gonna go and kind of cry. I'll give this guy an okay rating. I don't know if he's gonna be like standard and everything, but I can see a lot of decks running him, right? He destroys your own cards. Last word decks are gonna want this. Skeleton decks probably won't even care because they're just gonna have catacombs on it as well. But last word decks will definitely like this. He's a way better version of the card that got released this expansion. The one that targets one follower, kills it, and gets stronger. I think this guy's a better version of that. Amazing on tempo drop, yeah. But hey, I honestly don't see anyone but Last Words running this. That's about it. I'll give him a nice okay. Or no, I'll give him a niche. Dollar Blade. Yeah, he's pretty much a better Dollar Blade. You see him being ran everywhere except Nap. I can see that. I just don't know if people would be willing to lose their board to play this guy on 5. How is it a better Serb? Yeah, if you're playing aggro, you probably want Serb first. But, I'll give him an okay. I'll give him an okay. Let's move on. Poisoned Apple of Rebirth. That's some pretty spooky art. So a 2 cost gold. I'm already scared. It's Zombie Party, isn't it? Change a neutral follower into a Shadowcraft follower. Give that follower last words. Summon another follower of the same name. Hey look, it's Morde. It's Morde the spell. So you turn a neutral into a shadow and give it Morde. That's pretty neat. You can combo this with Urd, can't you? So you can have like 2 copies of it. So a neutral shadow card. I think only neutral will run this. If you're playing neutral, you'll probably maybe run this, but this is a pretty meme card, I agree. This is indeed a pretty meme card. You use this, urge something, boom. You just did the morde combo. Let's move on. Nightmare Executioner. 4 cost 0/3. Bane Clash draw card. So this guy, I guess you can call him a strictly better thief from Swordcraft. He has no stats, but he has Bane. I've often said if they would make like a bell ringer, but instead of draw card with Bane, I would probably run it. I say that all the time. So I kind of think I would probably run this guy. I'm not too sure though. Free cards. I mean, free cards. Yeah, Ding Dong with Bane. I think he's pretty good. The only problem is he costs 4. So I think you would tech this in if you want a bit of card draw. Otherwise, I don't really see anyone running this. Aggro won't want him because he has 0 damage. If people play wards, they might want him though. Nep won't run him because he messes with the pulls. Mid-range might. They might consider it. But they have Orthrus. I think this guy's more of a tech card. Or like a really good arena card. I'll give him a big old niche. Caterpillar of Riddles. Okay, so right off the bat, this thing is terrifying. If I see this thing in my garden, I'd squish it. 4 cost 4/3. Fanfare. Give all other allied neutral followers 1/1. Deal 2 damage to all other allied Shadowcraft followers. So there's some more of that nice down with the shadow, up with the neutrals. And then when he evos, he gets a mustache. That's not how that works. Yeah, he's doing illegal activity. Like, he's starting the illegal activity here. And then in this picture, he's just full illegal activity. This dude needs to have the cops called on him, but that's besides the point. So, neutral memes. Niche. I'll give him a big old niche. His stats are kind of spooky. But yeah, big old niche. Usher of Styx. Nice waifu, I must say. 2 cost 2/2, full stats. Necromancy 6. Put one of your highest cost followers that has been destroyed during this match into your hand. So, another use for Necromancer. Necromancy's 6, but it's 6. That's so many shadows. That's so many shadows. But you can add Morde, you can add Kiwi, you can add all that good stuff. She's pretty much Rebirth with a body. A strictly better Rise of the Dead. Yeah. You would only run her, I guess, if you want that card. She seems okay in arena. I mean, getting your strongest card back is pretty strong. I'll go ahead and give her a niche. Like, aggro will definitely not want her. They have Little Dream Killer. Control might want her. Nep probably messes with the pull, so you don't want that. Yeah, I don't really think you'd play her much. In a minty deck, you could. Yeah, all these cards with 6 are like screaming minty play. Play minty. And she only costs 2, so turn 6. Get another minty. Let's move on. No, I gave her a good old niche rating, didn't I? Let's go back. Yeah, I'll give her a good old niche rating. Mad Hatter, 7 cost 4/5. Nice roll-in stats. Fanfare. Destroyed an allied follower and summon a tin soldier. What? Doesn't activate if no other allied followers are in play. Tin soldier is a 4/5. So this dude basically summons 2 4/5s. The only problem is he destroys your follower. But you're playing Shadow. A lot of the time you're going to have some spooky skeletons. But of course, if you're playing aggro, turn 7's that Ector turn. You dedicate your turn 7 to Ectar. You probably don't want this guy. Last Words will want this guy because he destroys an allied follower. I don't think you would ever really run this guy. I'll give him a niche rating. He seems okay in arena though, because a lot of the time your arena cards are trash. Having a 4/5 is nice. 2 4/5s on 7. Okay in arena, pretty niche otherwise. Skeleton Ogre, another one. This is the power creep I was talking about, right? 2 cost 1/4. See how before it was like 2/2, then 2/3, and then I don't know 1/3s with Urius, and now it's 1/4s. Whenever this attacks, use Necromancy 4, gain +2/0. So this guy, you might run him in aggro, might. He uses 4 shadows to gain 2/0, which would make him a 3/4, which seems okay, but then you have to weigh the shadow cost. Like, this is another card you would probably run in a Minty deck, if you ever really use Minty. But just the stats make him really annoying to deal with when you think about it. No card can really stand up to him, like no spell. You can't use, there's one that can, but it's a forest card. We'll get to that at the end. You can't use Sylvan Justice, you can't use Scriptures, you can't use Whole Souled on this guy. 1/4 is the new memes. I'll give him a niche rating again. Yeah, it's power creeped, but this effect isn't, it's kind of whatever. Haunted House. 1 cost, countdown 3. Whenever an allied follower excluding ghosts is destroyed during your turn, summon a ghost. So this is the card that when it got revealed, everyone was freaking the fuck out. Everybody was freaking out about this card. Because, the Catacomb memes. Right? You'd get like the biggest board ever. You get that poor Catacombs that only does on himself, and then more ghosts. But you have to keep in mind, Catacombs still does it takes up the board space, so the combo doesn't really work too much, especially now that it costs 4. You would only really tech this card into aggro. Even a toe meme, you might want to run this in a toe meme, because you play it turn 1, and then you summon a follower, you trade, it dies, the 1/1 goes face, and then you play a toe meme. But otherwise, this takes up a slot. That's the thing. Yeah, your board will be super crowded, even if you run Catacombs. That's pretty much the problem. Catacombs will clog you. I'll give this a niche. A Tomi might want this. Everyone else will probably stay away. Maybe aggro. And let's see. Siren's Tears. 2 cost amulet. Destroy a random allied Shadowcraft follower at the end of your turn. If you have both a Shadowcraft follower and a neutral follower in play, then give a random allied neutral follower plus XX. X equals the attack of the destroyed Shadowcraft follower. So this thing, not only is it an entire visual novel written into the text, but it's kind of niche. I think that's the problem with it. Because you have to run both shadow and neutrals. You could maybe run it in let's say a nice neutral shadow combo Dark Alice deck, but it's super niche. This card's just very, very niche. The art is fantastic though, yeah. The poor waifu's sad. I blame censorship for this. A toe meme to give the bard stats of a toe meme. You could, yeah. Yeah, niche. There's just no other way. Not even neutral would probably want this card, because it's at the end of your turn, so it's not like you're gonna get to attack with Storm or anything. Morde, if you have Morde, you could use this. but you have to play neutral as well. So, yeah. Niche. And then Demon Eater. 2 cost, 1/2. Pretty good art. Fanfare. Destroy an allied follower and draw 2 cards. Doesn't activate if no other allied followers are in play. So this card is pretty much soul conversion with a body for 2. I think she's pretty good. People run soul conversion. Why wouldn't you run this, right? I guess soul conversion costs 1 less. But I think this card's pretty good. Her stats might be not that good, but you could actually run this over some other stuff. I know Last Words likes running the 1/2 draw or even Bell Ringers. You can combo this with Last Words, kill a ghost and draw 2. I like this card. I think she's very good. This card is awesome. She's good, but card reviews are almost always wrong. Yeah, that's the fun of them, though. She's on as good paired with Phantom Howl before space. Power creep soul conversion. Exactly. That's what she is. I like her. A lot of the time, I'll run out of cards because soul conversion is my only card draw. But if I play this, I can just draw more. Playing her on curve, I guess. Why play her with soul conversion? 1/2 does almost nothing. Just to have more cards, I guess. Sometimes soul conversion just isn't enough draw for me. And if I'm playing Last Word, I mean, I might as well have a body with my Last Word effect. I think she's okay. Just the fact that she draws 2 cards might make her really good in Arena. But in Constructed, I don't really know if aggro will want her. They might. Two cards is quite a bit. I'll give her a good rating. Not a top tier rating, but I'll give her a good rating. How's that? I have a feeling people are probably gonna try teching her and everything, but we'll see.